Yes, good morning everyone. So this is Venkat Subramaniam, your CA Inter Law faculty. So in this lecture, we are going to discuss and analyze the question paper, CA Inter Corporate and Other Laws question paper that came recently, July 2021. So starting with first question, this time the question format, the paper format has been changed, uh, at least we'll expect some practical theory questions, theory as well as practical combo is available. But this time, most probably we got practical questions. So let's begin our discussion without wasting time. So starting with first question. Information extracted from audited financial statements of Smart Solutions Private Limited as at 31st March 2020 is as below. Paid up equity share capital 50 lakhs and turnover is 2 crores. So it's a private limited company, Smart Solutions Private Limited, paid up share capital 50 lakhs, turnover 2 crores. So many students get a confusion. So is it small company means within the limits of, within 50 lakhs or 2 crores or exceeding 50 lakhs or 2 crores. So small company is a company whose paid up share capital does not exceed 50 lakhs. That means 50 lakhs is also covered under the limit and 2 crores is also covered in the limit. First of all, it should be a company other than public company. It is further understood that Nice Software Limited, which is a public limited, is holding 2 lakh equity shares fully paid up. So 2 lakhs. Total paid up share capital of Smart Solutions Private Limited is 5 lakhs. Paid up share capital is 50 lakhs, okay. Out of which Nice Software Limited is holding 20 lakhs. That means 40%. So they are asking you, small company, if it is a private company, if it is a subsidiary to public company, whether it be treated as a small company or not. So here just percentage is 40%. So it's not a subsidiary to the public company. It is not a subsidiary company. So therefore it's a small company only. Smart Solutions Private Limited has filed its financial statement for the said year with the ROC excluding cash flow statement. So they filed financial statements excluding cash flow statement. Correct, sir? Yes. Because for small company, cash flow statement is not applicable. Cash flow statement is not applicable to 1% company, small company. Did you remember? Next one. Within the prescribed timeline during the financial year 2020-21, ROC has issued a notice to Smart Solutions Private Limited as it has failed to file cash flow statement along with the balance sheet and profit and loss account. You are to advise the following points. Whether Smart Solutions Private Limited shall be deemed to be a small company? Yes, because it satisfied 3 conditions. You have to write in this manner. It's not a public company, but it's a private company. 50 lakhs paid up share capital, turnover 2 crores. So all the limits are, all the conditions are satisfied, and it is not a subsidiary company. So it's a small company. Whether Smart Solutions Private Limited has defaulted in filing its financial statements? No, because for small company, financial statements excludes cash flow statement. So answer is no. So this question came from our guest questions. I will show you. Sima, just see it. So here we gave a sample question, like guest question. MNP Private Limited. So it's not 100% similar question, but it is similar to this question. It's not 100% exact, not exact question came into the exam, but similar. So they tested about similar small company. So whatever the answer we are writing here, the same answer is applicable to that case also. But extra point is small company excludes, small company financial statement excludes cash flow statement. That is the additional point. So that's why we gave 75%. So 75% came from our guess questions. 75%. And coming to the theory material, so the same question is there in our material also. The same question is there in our material also, but the numbers has been changed. Okay, now. So, and we gave 75% because all the points are matching except that cash flow statement. Now coming to the next question. So first one, the balances extracted from the financial statement of the ABC Limited, or for CS net worth 100 crores, 500 crores, 1 crore. This is audited financial statements and this is provisional. Explaining the provisions of Companies Act 2013, you are requested to examine whether ABC Limited is required to constitute CSR committee. See, CSR committee is applicable only when the net worth, 500 crores or more, or turnover 1000 crores or more, and net profit 5 crores or more. You have to take these figures from the preceding financial year financial statements. So you should not consider provisional financial statements. You should consider audited financial statements that to preceding financial year. So you should not consider this data. Don't consider this data. You should consider only this data. According to this data, all the limits, all the conditions, they are not satisfying. They are not satisfying any of the condition. Actually, if any of the condition is satisfied, then CSR is applicable. CSR committee is applicable. So clearly the answer is no, CSR is not applicable. So coming to our guest questions, coming to our guest questions, so coming to our guest questions, so it's just a theory question, and we give a theory question with respect to provisions of Companies Act relating to CSR, corporate social responsibility. In that question, the very first point, it starts with every company having net worth, having turnover, having net profit during the preceding financial year. I'll show in our material also. So in our material, Seema, so discuss the provisions of Companies Act relating to the CSR. So he tested the first point, he tested this first point. So it is very clear that you should not have mug up knowledge. You should not mug up the subject. Conceptual clarity is very much important. Many students commit mistake. They will remember only this figure. They won't remember or more. They won't remember. So in exam they think that it's 500 crores, greater than 500 crores, it's 1000 crores, it's greater than 5 crores. It's wrong. So while reading the numbers, time limits, you should be very much clear. Happened is happened. Even if you commit mistakes, don't worry, rectify them, and upcoming attempt will be the best attempt. So try to resolve all those errors. So this point they asked. So this is also indirect question. So if you had conceptual clarity about this point, you can write the this question, this answer. Next one, ASR Limited declared dividend at its annual general meeting held on 31st December 2020. So within 30 days of declaration, dividend should be paid off. The dividend warrant to Mr. A shareholder, was posted on 22nd January 2021. Due to postal delay, Mr. A received the warrant on 5th February 2021 and encashed it subsequently. Can Mr. A initiate action against company for failure to distribute the dividend within 30 days declaration during the provisions of Companies Act 2013? The answer is no, because the delay happened which is not within the control of the company. The delay is beyond the control of the company. Sorry to say that we didn't give any guess question with respect to this concept, but I'll show the question came from our material. See, my dear students, so these are the exceptions from the punishment. What is the punishment for failure to distribute the dividend? Here, if you see the second point, exception from punishment, this point is applicable for any other reason which was not due to any fault on the part of the company. So hence proved, once again proved, hence proved. So you should have conceptual clarity, or else you can't attempt this answer. Many students know about exceptions, but they don't know which exception is applicable to the question. So you have to tell that. So something which is beyond the control of the company, So that's it. We completed our second question. Next one. Paul, a minor, purchased a smartphone on credit from a mobile dealer on the surety given by Mr. Jack. Paul did not pay for the mobile. The mobile dealer demanded the payment from Mr. Jack because the contract entered with Paul is void. is void. Mr. Jock argued that he is not liable to pay the amount since Paul is not liable. Whether the argument is correct? No. Because in contract of guarantee, principal debtor can be minor. There is no problem. There is no problem. So I'll show you this point in our material. So Seema, so this point, we had this question actually. We had this question. So it's a direct question. It is taken from our similar questions. So A minor has borrowed a sum of 10,000 from B. C guaranteed. Of course, the purchase happened, here borrowing happened. The purchase happened, here borrowing happened. In two cases, principal debtor is having liability. So even if principal debtor is minor, no problem. So will your answer, what will be your answer if Jock and Paul both are minor? Yeah, we had that question also, A and C are not minors, B is minor. Or suppose A is not a minor, C is a minor. Is there a valid contract of guarantee? Both surety and principal debtor, if both are minors, then contract of guarantee is invalid. So answer will be different. The guarantor is not liable. Here, guarantor is liable. So this is a direct question from our material, but it is taken from similar question. So students are advised to read at least one time similar questions. Next, coming to the last question in first one. A signs his name on a blank check with a not negotiable crossing. So not negotiable crossing, you should remember, not negotiable crossing, it restricts further negotiability. Instrument is transferable, but the title of the instrument is not transferable. That means transferee gets what transferor had. So transferee won't get better title. Even he is a HDC, transferee gets the title of transferor because it's a non-negotiable crossing, which he gives to B with an authority to fill up a sum of 3,000 only. So next, it's an inchoate instrument also, blank instrument. But B fills it up for 5,000. B then endorsed it to C for a consideration of 5,000, who takes it in good faith. Examine whether C is entitled to recover the full amount of instrument from B or A as per the provisions of Negotiable Instruments Act 1881. So he can't recover full amount and he can recover only 3,000. So this question came from our guest questions. So various types of crossing of a check. Not negotiable crossing is one type of crossing only. Next, coming to the material. Seema, question number 20. W drew a check crossed not negotiable in blank and handed it to his clerk to fill in the amount and name of the payee. Clerk inserted a sum in excess of her authority and delivered the check to P in payment of debt of her own. Decide. So this is similar to this question. No, it's not exactly same, but similar to this question. So this is a direct question from our material. Next question. Question 2a. It's a direct question and it's all about general meeting. The first AGM of a company shall be held within a period of 6 months from the date of closing of first financial year. No, it's actually 9 months. The registrar may for any special reason extend the time within which first AGM shall be held. No extension is possible for first AGM. Subsequent AGM should be held within 6 months from the closing of financial year. Correct. There shall be maximum interval of 15 months between two AGMs. Correct. Now coming to the guest questions. So it's all about question number 1 and explain the provisions of the act with regard to the holding of AGM. So this is actually a theory question. I'll show how it was presented in our material. See, my dear students, so explain the provisions of act with regard to the holding of AGM. Here they asked this point, I'm highlighting the points which were tested in the exam, this point and note point, this third point and second point. See, these 4 points have been asked for 4 marks. So you have to remember the time limits. So these 4 points were asked. So this is our material. These 4 points were asked in the exam. Next question. KSR Limited, an unlisted company, furnishes the following data. Paid up share capital of the company 45 crores, turnover 175, outstanding loans 105 crores, and the outstanding balance as on 31st March is 90 crores. So at one point of time it is 105 crores. Subsequent repayment, it came to 90 crores. Whether as per provisions of Companies Act 2013, the company is required to appoint internal auditor during the year 2021 and 22. So it's all about internal audit applicability. So which companies are required to conduct an internal audit? If you read this question, which was there in our guest questions, you can easily answer that one. So first of all, we'll go to that question. See ma, which companies are required to conduct an internal audit? Every listed company without any limits, unlisted public company. In exam also they asked unlisted, and it's a KSR Limited, it's a public company, unlisted company. Okay. Paid up share capital 50 crores or more during preceding financial year. Turnover 200 crores or more during preceding financial year. Outstanding loans or borrowings from banks or public financial institutions exceeding 100. At any point of time, students will forget this point. At any point of time, they will forget at any point of time. They think that year-end balances. No, it's incorrect. So for loans and deposits, at any point of time condition was specified. So two things you should remember. One is greater than or equal to or only greater than. Second thing, so preceding financial year, year ending data or at any point of time, you should pay attention for these small points. You should pay attention for these small points, or else your attempt will become costly. So by way of this C point, 105 crores at any point of time on 3rd March 2021, 105 crores, the limit has been exceeded. So it satisfied one condition, therefore internal audit is applicable. And one more point you need to pay attention is, after completion of each and every point there is OR. That means no need to satisfy all the limits, only satisfying one limit is sufficient. Next one. So this is the direct theory question. State the provisions of Companies Act 2013 relating to the appointment of first auditor of a government company. Sorry to say that this question is not there in our guest questions. So, but we are having direct practical questions. See, first auditor of Messrs Healthy Wealthy Limited, a government company, was appointed by Board of Directors. So you have to write this answer. Simply 60 days, 30 days, 60 days. Next one. Mr. Stephen owns a chicken farm near Gurgaon where he breeds them and sell eggs and live chicken to retail shops in Gurgaon. So at the end, I'll see the conclusion. State the duties of Mr. Stephen as Pani. So you have to write duties of Pani. And Fleming. Who is Fleming? Panar. Rights available in this case. So duties of Pani, you should write all the duties and take reasonable care of goods. Unauthorized, not to make inconsistent use of goods, not to make unauthorized use of, not to mix goods with his own goods, return the goods, duty to return accretion to the goods. You have to write all the duties and you have to state the rights of Pani. So coming to the guest questions, so here we gave rights of Panar and Pani. So you have to write rights of Panar and duties of Pani. See, rights of Panar is nothing but duties of the Pani. Okay, one right is the duty to another person. Now coming to our material. So if you see the bailment topic, duties of Pani. So this is the duties of Pani, duty to return accretion to the goods, and these are the duties of the Pani. So you have to write these points in addition to the in addition to writing analysis and conclusion. Next one. Mr. Harsha donated 50,000 to an NGO by check for sponsoring education of one child for 1 year. Later on, he found that NGO was a fraud and did not engage in philanthropic activities. He gave a stop payment instruction to his bankers, and the check was not honored by the bank as per his instruction. The NGO has sent a demand notice and threatened to file a case against Harsha. Advise Mr. Harsha about the course of action available under the Negotiable Instruments Act 1881. So no need to worry. Section 138 is not applicable to Harsha. The reason it is, here there is no consideration. No consideration is present. So therefore, no need to worry. So unfortunately, this question is not there in our guest questions. But if you see material, if you see our material, there is a question. So what are the consequences for a check being dishonored for insufficiency of funds? Of course, in case of stop payment order also, the court will observe whether funds are applicable or not, whether sufficient funds are there in the account holders bank account. So therefore, section 138 is not applicable because the reason is it is not for consideration. So this is a practical question which was taken from the material. Coming to third question. State Cricket Club was formed as a limited liability company under Section 8 of the Companies Act 2013 with the object of promoting cricket by arranging introductory cricket courses at district level and friendly matches. The club has been earning surplus. Of late, the affairs of the companies are conducted fraudulently and dividend was paid to its members. So Section 8 company should not distribute surplus as a dividends among the members. It was prohibited from declaration of dividends. Mr. Cool, a member, decided to make a complaint with regulatory authority to curb the fraudulent activities by cancelling the license given to the company. Is there any provision under Companies Act 2013 to revoke the license? Yes, if states the provisions. Whether the company may be wound up? Yes. CG, after giving opportunity of being heard, after giving reasonable opportunity of being heard, it will revoke the license. Company may be wound up or company may merge with a similar Section 8 company, similar objectives of Section 8 company. So whether the State Cricket Club can be merged with Messrs. School Net Private Limited, a company engaged in the business of network marketing? No, networking, no. Why? Because objects are different. So this question came from our guest questions. So we will see it. So Seema, explain the provisions relating to revocation of license granted under Section 8. So that question came from our guest question. So you have to concentrate the questions which are there in guest question. So you have to read at least 2 times. If you are reading main material 1 time, you have to read 2 times the guest question and answers. So is it there in our material? Yeah, it's also there in our material. So we'll see here. So if you observe similar question in our exam paper, it's a cricket club, whereas it is education, providing education. Okay, now so almost similar, just nature of business has been changed, that's it. So here also they asked about reasons for revocation of license, consequences after revocation of the license. Easy question. Next one, AB and Associates, a firm of chartered accountants, was reappointed as auditors at the annual general meeting of X Limited held on 30th September 2019. However, the board of directors recommended to remove them before expiry of their term by passing a resolution in the board meeting held on 31st March 2020. Subsequently having given consideration to the board recommendation, AB and Associates were removed at the general meeting held on 25th May 2020 by passing a special resolution subject to approval of central government. Explaining the provisions for removal of second and subsequent auditors, examine the validity of removal of AB and Associates by X Limited under the provisions of Companies Act. So it is there in our guest questions. Seema, Mr. Suresh, a chartered accountant, was appointed by Board of Directors of AB Limited as the first auditor. The company general meeting removed Suresh without seeking the approval of central government and appointed Ramesh as an auditor in his place. So it's not a direct guest question, but it is similar to the guest question. So CG approval is required. Actually, the procedure is first board resolution has to be passed, application to be filed with central government or regional director, power delegated to RD. That's why within 60 days, you need to conduct general meeting and you need to pass special resolution. This is the procedure. So, but here there is a clear cut explanation that by passing a special resolution subject to approval of CG, subject to approval of CG. So you need to analyze this question more and more. So it is also taken from our guest questions. And coming to the main material, so this question is there in our material also. So first SEMA board approval, next application to CG, next general meeting within 60 days of receipt of approval of CG for passing the special resolution, So you have to write the same answer, you'll get full marks. So this is there in our material as well as guest questions. Next one, examine the following cases with respect to their validity. State your answers with reasons. A bill of exchange is drawn mentioning expressly as payable on demand, and the bill will be at maturity for payment on 4th January if it is presented on 1st January. No grace days for the demand instrument, Next one, a holder gives notice of dishonor of a bill to all the parties except the acceptor. The drawer claims that he is discharged from his liability as the holder fails to give notice of dishonor of the bill to all the parties thereto. In case of dishonor, you have to serve notice to the parties to whom you want to make liable, except parties primarily liable to that instrument. So drawer is liable. There is no change in drawer's liability. So we'll see whether this question is there in our guest questions or not. So simply you have to consider this question. Write down the provisions relating to the maturity and days of grace. Days of grace days are allowed only to the time instruments but not to the demand instrument. So from this question a point was asked. So we'll look into the material also. Yes, so this is the question. Actually in this question, days of grace, so they tested this point only, which is payable otherwise than on demand, or simply you can see here instruments not entitled to the grace days. Check payable on demand. See, payable on demand. So this question was asked. A very simple question. And next one, second one. Coming to the second point, a holder gives notice of dishonor. The point is taken here from here and see, a party other than party primarily liable. So notice must be given to all the parties other than maker, acceptor or drawee whom the holder seeks to make them jointly or severally liable. So this point was tested. So drawer is not said to be discharged because no need to serve notice of dishonor to the acceptor. So by considering this case, drawer is liable. This is a 100% practical question, but you need to understand concepts in a thorough manner, or else you can't attempt such a question. Next one, impact of the two words means exhaustive, includes means inclusive. So means and excludes, it's like an extensive, it is there in our material. So you can see this point, means and excludes, this is there in our material. So simply means, includes separately they given, and you have to write means and includes, this point. So it is there in our material how definitions can be understood under General Clauses Act. Next, coming to the next one, buyback. And as expected, every attempt buyback, there is a question from buyback, but this is a reverse question. See, the offer of buyback of its own shares shall not be made within a period of actually 12 months, or 1 year, anything same, 1 year from the date of the closure of preceding offer of buyback, if any, and cooling period to make further issue of same kind of shares including allotment of further shares shall be a period of, cooling period is not 1 year only, cooling period is actually 6 months. After the expiry of 6 months, you can issue similar shares. From the completion of buyback, subject to certain exceptions. Examine the validity of this statement by explaining the provisions of Companies Act in this regard. Yeah, we had that point in our guest questions also. So SEMA, state the provisions relating to the requirements to be complied after buyback. Once buyback is completed, next 12 months you should not make buyback. and next 6 months you should not issue similar shares. However, there are exceptions, bonus issue, sweat equity, ESOPs, conversion of share warrants into shares, conversion of preference shares into share, equity shares, debentures into equity shares. They are permitted. And this question, so Seema, they asked second point and the time limit, sorry, it's not second point, it's G point, time gap between two buybacks, it's 1 year. Time gap between two buybacks, it's 1 year. And next one, cooling period of 6 months. Combination of two questions from our material, but only one points. So this shows you should remember time limits. Time limits are very, very important. You can't expect a question paper without time limits or without penalties. At least time limits or penalties, definitely they will ask. So special attention should be given to the time limits as well as penalties. Coming to the next question, ABC Limited proposes to issue series of debentures frequently, within a period of 1 year to raise the funds without undergoing complicated exercise of issuing the prospectus every time of issuing a new series of debentures. Examine the feasibility of proposal of ABC Limited having taken into the account the concept of demerged prospectus dealt with. So many students get a confusion. What is this demerged prospectus, sir? It's actually shelf prospectus. No, actually shelf prospectus plus information memorandum is deemed to be prospectus under section 26. It's deemed to be the prospectus of 26. So that's why they wrote deemed prospectus. So let's check whether it is there in our guest questions or not. It's not there in our guest questions. We'll check whether it is there in our material. So ESMA, actually it's a similar to the similar question. We are having direct question and we are having theory question also. So if after completion of reading every question, you have to go through the similar questions. So this is, I think, second or third instance where we are getting questions from our similar questions. So different stages over a certain period of time. Do not wish to issue prospectus each and every time. So similarly it was asked. So they don't want complicated exercise of issuing prospectus every time. They want to avoid repeated issue of prospectus. So it's there in our material. Next one. Promoters of J Street Spinning Mills Limited contributed in shape of unsecured loan to the company in fulfillment of margin money requirements stipulated by State Industrial Development Corporation Limited for granting loan. In the light of provisions of Companies Act and rules made thereunder, whether unsecured loan will be regarded as deposit or not. Actually, promoters unsecured loan, in addition, because of condition from leading financial institutions or banking companies, then promoters unsecured loans are not treated as deposit. Suppose once the loan is repaid, then it will become deposit. Yes, we'll go through the point which is there in our material. So they asked this question, a company has taken 50 lakh from its promoters. So nevertheless, you have to write the same provision and analysis and conclusion. Conclusion. So company can accept unsecured loan from promoters. It is in pursuance of stipulation of the bank or leading financial institution. So applying the above provisions, it is not a deposit. However, if the loan from the bank is repaid, unsecured loan from promoters continues, then it will be deemed to be deposit. So direct question from our practical questions. So coming to the next one. Examine the validity of the following statements with reference to the General Clauses Act 1897. So insurance policies covering immovable property having been laid to be immovable property, and the word bullocks could be interpreted to include cows. So this is from General Clauses Act, two separate questions. So we got it from the both guest questions as well as main material and so I'll show you. Zima, the word bullocks could be interpreted to include cows. So it is there in our material, but a single line. So explain gender and number. In that question, we got a question. So example, not to use cows in the place of bullocks. So from examples also we are getting a questions. So you should not take. You should pay separate and special attention to the examples also. So one thing I can make clear, that you should have knowledge of concept. So don't mug up the subject, just get conceptual clarity, that's it. You can attempt 100% of the paper. So coming to the guest questions, here, how the definitions can be understood under this General Clauses Act. So with respect to the words immovable property, it is covered in our guest questions and also in our material. Next one, whether foreign decisions can be used for construing Indian Constitution, explain. Yes, it is there in our material. So use of foreign decisions, direct theory question came from our material. So this is direct theory question and so foreign decisions. No, it's not there in our guest questions. Next, coming to the last one, fifth question, last one. So it's all about shifting of registered office. It's there in our guest question as well as in our material. Simam, so explain the procedure of shifting of registered office from one registrar to another registrar within the same state. Procedure for shifting register office from one state to another state and the importance of register office. So if you are thorough with these theory questions, you can attempt easily. these questions easily. So a question was asked from these questions. One question was asked from the combination of 8, 9 and 10 questions. 8, 9 and 10 questions. So you can see it. So register office is shifted from Thane to Dadar, both places falling within the jurisdiction of Mumbai. So there is no change in ROC. So but change in district. So special resolution is required. This question is there in our material. See question number 8. Shifting of register office from one city town village to another city town village within the same state. But it's a practical question. A practical question has been designed from the theory. So next one, register office is situated in Mumbai, Maharashtra, within the jurisdiction of Mumbai, whereas corporate office is situated in Pune, Maharashtra state. A Limited proposes to shift its corporate office. Many students thought that it's a register office. So for shifting corporate office, no approvals are required. So no need of members approval, no need of regional director approval, no need of central government approval, no need of ROC approval. Okay, no? So many students lost their attention with respect to reading that word. So this is the general question. Next one, register office is situated in certain place of a city is proposed to be shifted to another place within the local limits of the same city under the authority of board resolution. Yes. So same point, same eighth question, but the point is first point. So 1 and 2 points came for 5 marks. So it is there in our guest questions as well as material. Next one, Johnson Limited goes for public issue of its shares. The issue was oversubscribed. A default was committed with respect to allotment of shares by officers of the company. There were no managing director, whole-time director or any other person designated by the board with responsibility of complying with the provisions of the act. State who are the persons considered as officers in default under the Companies Act 2013. Examine who will be considered in default, in the instant case. This is section 2 clause 60, which is a part of preliminary chapter. It's not there in our question, study material. And guest questions. This question entirely came from outside the masterminds material, but it is there. Section 2 clause 60. It's a general question. You have to write about officer in default. Who comes under officer in default? Next one, Mr. Laurel, a shareholder in Hardly Limited, a listed company, desires to inspect the minutes book of general meetings and to have a copy of some resolutions. In the light of provisions of Companies Act, answer the following: whether he can inspect the minutes book and to have copies of minutes at free of cost. So no, actually no. He has to pay maximum ₹10 per page. Whether he can authorize his friend to inspect the minutes book on behalf of him by signing a power of attorney. No, only member is entitled. Let's see whether this is there in our guest questions. So it's not there in our guest questions. We'll see it is there in our material. Sima, what are the provisions of Companies Act 2013 relating to inspection of minutes? So fourth point, you can obtain a copies. So amount of fees, see, for soft copy it's 0, whereas for hard copy, if you want to print out, 10 per page. And only a member is entitled to a copy of minutes of general meeting. Okay, no. And it was made inspection, see the SEMA open for inspection during business hours for any member. Next one, for inspection there is no fees only, and for taking copies there is a fees. Soft copy no fees, hard copies fees, rupees 10 maximum, or the amount specified in AOA, whichever is lower. Next one, last but one question. A rented his house to be on lease for 3 years. The lease agreement is terminable on 3 months notice by either party. See, the son of A, being in need of separate house to live, served a notice on B without any authority to vacate the house within a month and requested his father to ratify his action. Examine whether it shall be valid for A to ratify the action of C, taken into the account the provisions of Indian Contract Act 1872. So, ratification should not lead any damage to the third party rights, whether monetary or from rights point of view. So unfortunately this is not there in our guest questions, but it is there in our material. So SEMA, the point tested this point ma. So from this point a practical question has been asked. And there is an example also. This example was framed as a question in our exam. So next one, Ajit was supposed to submit an appeal to High Court of Kolkata on 30th March 2020, which was the last day on which such appeal could be submitted. Unfortunately, on the day, High Court was closed due to total lockdown all over India due to COVID-19 pandemic. Examine the remedy available to Ajit according to the provisions of General Process Act. If the date falls emergency holiday, then the next succeeding day is opened only. So it's a remedy. So there is this question is not there in our guest questions, but this is there in our material. So you can consider this point only. So whereby explain the computation of time. So you can consider this point. So that's it. So through this lecture, yes, one should concentrate the guest questions by attempting at least 50% of the marks. So you will definitely score 50% of the marks. We are getting many questions from the guest questions, and you should read the material. And one more point, while reading you should understand the subject, or else it is very difficult to attempt this paper. So that's it.